Hey guys, and welcome
back.
to Sip, Savor, and Celebrate.
I'm Chris.
I'm Devin.
And today we've got our friend Konnor from Third Wind.
Thanks for having me.
Definitely. We want to know everything there is to know about this. You are a distiller here in Bay City, which is pretty cool. You're in this. Actually, you would be the east side still, which is wouldn't you call it, or you're closer?
Yeah,
to
we're
Essex?
off of Marquette Avenue, so we're just on the north side of the Saginaw River. Actually, right up here. We're on the Saginaw River here, so it's just upriver here, and yeah, we're right off of Marquette Avenue there. That's where we do all of our production.
Awesome. So I heard a story that you guys during COVID were bored, you had nothing to do, and decided to make some. Is that a true story, or is that a lunch line story from one person to the one person to the one person?
Oh, and make whiskey, you mean?
Yeah,
Or,
to come up with this brand. How did you come up with the brainchild of Third Wind?
Sure. Well, it's kind of like that. So I think it was 2018. We actually visited Long Road Distillers down in Grand Rapids.
Okay.
Which I'm sure you guys are familiar with. That's a
Yes.
really nice distillery. They've got really good spirits and stuff, and I've always been a big Scotch guy, actually. But we went down there, and so I wasn't too obsessed with bourbon at the time. And bourbon's really picked up since then, anyway, in the last 5 years. But anyway, we were down there. I was with my brothers, my dad, some of the family, and did a tour. Got a bottle of the bourbon. I think it was just a straight bourbon, and came back to Bay City, and it was Christmas time, and we're sitting around the Christmas tree, literally drinking their whiskey, and someone just kind of mentioned, like, hey, why isn't there a destination distillery similar to Long Road within the Great Lakes Bay region here, right? Because you've got to go to Detroit or Traverse City or Grand Rapids, one of the bigger cities in Michigan, to really find a...
Grand Traverse. I really like, or Northern Distilleries.
Exactly.
I really love both of those.
Yep, all those. And... or 2 James Detroit, stuff like that.
Oh, of course.
So
2
good.
James. We just did the review of that, which we've been drinking it a while, but we did the review live on camera for the Johnny Smoking Gun for Johnny Noodle King from Detroit.
Oh, okay.
They made their whiskey specific for that ramen down there, and it really pairs well. It's kind of crazy, but it's really, really good. But 2 James. Yes, please. Cool. I apologize.
No, so, yeah, so we just kind of thought, why isn't there something like this around here? And just out of curiosity, we're like, what do you even need to do to do something like this? We were sure it was probably really highly regulated, being
of course,
being alcohol, right? And so we kind of looked through what the requirements were and stuff of that nature on the federal, state, and local level. And next thing you know, it really just kind of snowballed. I mean, it's funny how it just kind of took a mind of its own, right? And
kind of like my tequila collection.
yeah.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah, that'll happen too. And but so then over probably the next year was when we were really trying to navigate the licensing. I found a consultant online in a forum who used to be an agent for the TTB, so it was a perfect consultant, and he really helped us navigate those waters. And he mentioned or recommended an attorney as well. And after that was all said and done, I think it was late 2019 that we were official and had our first our DSP license, which is the first one registered in all of Bay County, which is really cool.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yep, and still the only one as far as I know. But
forgive me for asking, what is the TTB? I've never heard this.
The Tobacco Trade Bureau, tobacco.
Okay.
Trade, is it either board or bureau?
Or is it maybe it's backwards, trade and tobacco or
I'm gonna have to Google that.
Or whatever. Yeah.
Something along those lines.
So you got going on your back in 2019, and then everybody knows what happened.
Yep. And then COVID happened, and then that's when we were gearing up to do one of our first products. And when that happened, not only did it pushed our release back, but it completely changed our plans, because our initial plan was to right out of the gate was to open a customer-based physical location distillery tasting room where you can come and visit and stuff. Well, when COVID happened, we had no idea what the outcome of that was going to be, how long it was going to last, and as you guys know, everything was shut down. So the last thing you want to do is spend a bunch of capital on a building that you can't have a revenue stream coming through. So we we switched those plans around. We said, okay, we're going to focus on our branding and distribution instead. So we signed a contract with Imperial Beverage, who they do most
I
of
know
the
who
craft
they are.
stuff
Yep.
in Michigan. And then we put a lot of the capital into kind of our branding here, which you see in front of you. And along with that, as we were doing that, the federal government also kind of deputized a lot of the distilleries to start making hand sanitizer because we're the only,
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, we're the only businesses that legally and have the equipment to distill those kind of that kind of ethanol used for it. So
For sure.
so we started doing that, and we were just giving that stuff away locally for probably 6 months, and then once we started to figure out what was going on, we got a little more comfortable, and that's when we released our first product, which is this straight bourbon right here in front of us.
I remember seeing it. My friend, Justine, as a matter of fact, she was the one who said, "Chris, have you tried that one with the white X on it and the blue label? And like somebody made me a mixed drink the other night with that, and it was like really, really good. You got to go check it out." And they're from Bay City, and I'm like, "What? I don't know about this." So I had to go out and find it and
Sure.
buy it. I will tell you, the other two are a little bit more difficult to pick up unless you're at specific stores, because some of the other ones, like, well, yeah, I haven't seen it on our shelves in months
Sure.
because somebody else in the area bought up all the stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's we unfortunately don't have any control over that. So when
Of
we
course
release
not,
a product, there are some stores that will buy a lot of it up. But it is what it is. I think they kind of recognize, because this first release here, the straight bourbon, when we announced that, it was sold out.
ahead.
I think it was sold out within like 72 hours.
Wow. Really?
Yeah. And
Word got around quick.
it did, yeah. And then it was bad because it sold out, and we didn't understand. We didn't. Being in the first product, we didn't know what the demand was going to be, right? So it's kind of hard to plan for. We actually went under recommendation of another consultant of ours that worked in distribution, and they said, "All right, you need to have X amount." So we hit that X amount, and it turned out we needed about 10x of that amount.
Right. That's how it always goes.
Right. So then we had some supply chain issues, and we went another 4 months before we could get that back on the shelf. And then after that one, we rolled in the wheat and then into the rye. But I think this came out December of 2020.
Okay.
So we'll be, or 2.5 years that we've actually had product on the shelf.
Well,
but
I, for one, am a fan of it. I was super happy for your success, and I
Thank
hope
you.
that you do nothing but more and grow into it. The place that you're at, if I'm correct, didn't they produce, like, was it beer or pop or something like that in that building before you or something like that?
They might have, but the
Or Tri-City. Well, I thought it was Tri-City Brewery.
no,
was there before
we
you.
looked at that building.
Oh, you're a different building.
That
Okay.
Tri-City was in, and turned out there were just some issues there, and that we
Okay.
didn't want to deal with. So we're actually in a building. I think that was a big, like a wood shop that was in there.
Okay.
And man, it was a mess when we first got in
I can
there.
only imagine.
Yeah, we had to go in there and literally power wash the sawdust off of all the walls and ceiling and stuff like that. And but no, it's been great. It's
All right.
a perfect little facility for us. So.
Sweet. Tell
But
me how
we
you make
do
this.
want to take
Oh.
a moment before we start enjoying this.
I'm excited. I love
Please,
this.
guys, make sure you're drinking responsibly. Also, make sure you share us with your friends. Hit that like, that subscribe, that notification. Check us out on all of our platforms, Instagram, Facebook, and right here on YouTube.
Yep.
And, make sure you give these guys over at Third Wind a bump on social media as well.
Yes,
Recommend
definitely.
them to your
They're on
friends.
Facebook
because,
and all that.
We found it through a friend. We found it through a business owner that
Yep, Coonan's has it on.
his shelf. He
Yeah,
raves
yeah.
about it all the
I
time.
love Kim Kuhn. He's a great
Yeah,
guy.
he's such a really good guy, though.
Yeah.
We like going over there, too.
So do I.
I'm just working on him to get some good tequilas. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway,
So-
so yes, please tell us.
talk to us more about how this one is made. Like copper stills, or are you using some newer stuff?
Sure.
What's
Well,
the process?
Well, so I'll tell you guys that this whole lineup is going to be MGP sourced, and it's all a specific blends that we do. Now, the reason that we did that is because we're only 2.5 years old. These whiskeys we're drinking are 4.5 years old.
Okay.
So when you start a distillery, there's a huge upfront capital requirement with the equipment and your building. So when you get a DSP license, you either have to own a building or have a signed lease with a building. You have to own all of the equipment associated with each process you're going to do. So if you want to get a designation for distilling process on your DSP license, you have to have a still. If you want to have a designation for warehousing, you better have warehousing equipment, shelving, and stuff of that nature. If you want to get one for bottling, you better have a bottler and filtration system, all that stuff. And you got to have that before you even apply for your DSP license.
Okay.
So what happens is there's one of two things you can do as a startup distillery. Number one is you can start off with a gin and a vodka, which a lot of guys do. Because, like I said, you already have all that upfront cost.
Right.
And you have got to have a revenue stream to support that and cash flow your business. Otherwise, say, okay, we want to wait and have our own whiskey, and it's got to be 4 to 5 years old. That's my sweet spot that I like whiskeys. That's why all these blends are 4 and 5 year old.
Okay.
Then we still wouldn't have a product to release right now. It'd be another 2 years until we.
Okay.
So you can't just sit there and twiddle your thumbs with all this equipment and stuff, right? You have to start a business. So what a lot of guys do is either do the vodka whiskey route or vodka gin route, or they do the sourcing like we did. But what is really unique about this, what is infinitely unique about this is, while these are all MGP Indiana-made whiskeys, I can guarantee that you haven't tried these particular whiskeys. That by way of blending and by the barrel picks that we did, because as you guys know, that even though if you have the same mash bill of a whiskey, that doesn't mean that each barrel that you get of that mash bill is going to taste the same. They're all each in every single one is going to be unique. They're unique on the wood quality. They're unique on the placement. In the rick house, the
char of the barrel,
the quality of the char of the barrel, run on the still that was done. There's a lot of factors that come into it. So me and you guys know that this stuff it's very unique in that regard. But for the blends, this one in particular, I think it took us. I think we had like 20 different blends that we tried. Through those guys. And the first batch actually incorporated some Dickel 6-year. And then I don't know if you guys are familiar with the very first batch we had of this.
No.
This is my first
Okay,
bottle.
so you didn't try that one then, because that one was actually a little different than this.
Okay.
And then we switched over to there's 3 different whiskeys in that one, in that blend there.
Okay.
And
46. Ooh,
but
she's a little up there.
Yeah. So, but and the other reason that we wanted to go this route with the blending is not only because you can make it as unique as you want, but as ours becomes of age, we can slowly introduce it as it's of age into these blends.
Okay.
And by way of blending, you're able to maintain that flavor profile a little easier. When you do like single barrel stuff, that's the whole point of single barrels, because each one is unique, right?
Correct.
But these are kind of our flagship products that we want to kind of have a
so did you have
consistent flavor profile with?
They created it. You chose which one you want to claim as your business.
Correct.
Is that correct? Okay.
Yep.
That's when you get it started. So now, are you going to be moving that to here, or are you still going to be sourcing it from them?
No, well, so
Curious.
it'll probably be like a phase out thing, because we have some product right now, but it's not of age.
Of course not. No.
And we have all the equipment and all that stuff, but we'll probably slowly introduce that as it comes. Maybe do like a single barrel release of that, and then of that same batch, maybe introduce it into like this guy here. We don't have anything like this currently aging. That's a really unique one. We'd like to though, but
I do love that one.
That one is delicious.
That one's gotten the most praise out of kind of the connoisseurs like you guys. I think the bourbon junkies had a top 3 Michigan whiskeys or something. I think they included that one in there as
That's
one of
awesome.
their favorites.
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Yep, and
All right, so then, do you know what barrels that were used on this? Were they?
oh, absolutely. Oh no, they ship them to our. So
Okay.
the only thing that is that we haven't done with these is the very raw distillation. As far as the aging, we age them additionally in our facility for 6 months to a year, and then we because they're 125 proof, right? Then we proof it by weight in our blending tank.
Okay.
And that's usually over about a two week process. We like to slowly introduce the water into there because some of these big guys, they'll just dump water into them.
Okay.
And when you add water to ethanol like that, it creates an exothermic reaction, which can actually create so much heat that it burns off some of the lighter alcohols and lighter flavors and stuff. So we found that if we just trickle it in there over like a 2 week period, and we just calculate what the proof of the whiskey is, and how much water we need to add to achieve the proof, the final proof, which is 92 in this case.
Right.
And what the weight of that needs to be. And so we just have our blending tank on a big floor scale, the digital readout.
Cool.
So we do that, blend it, and then after that we run it through a series of filters, because you have to filter it. I don't know if you guys have seen a raw barrel dump before, but there is a lot of debris in there, charcoal
yes.
and wood and stuff of that nature. So we run it through a.
Now, is this a cold filtered or
Nope.
a charcoal filter?
Nope,
or
it's
what
neither.
kind of filter?
It's
is
neither.
it? What-
Neither. It's just inline steel mesh. Well, when we
Okay.
dump the barrel, it's kind of a barbaric thing, but we do a cheesecloth in a stainless funnel.
Uh-huh.
And then after that, it's our inline filtration, which I think is a 500 micron, 100 micron, 10 micron, and then 5 micron filters.
So the filtering that you're using, just to make sure that I'm getting this right, you're basically just the only kind of thing that you're trying to do is filter out the debris, but keep the spirit. You're not trying to filter out any color or, I'm a tequila guy, I'm a major tequila guy. So some of the big fads right now is the Cristalinos, where they're taking this beautiful aged product, and then they're putting it through a huge charcoal filter to take the color out. Mm-hmm. But when you do that, you're also taking some of the flavor. So that's why I was going with this. Is this just to take out the debris? Are you losing any of the flavor, or are you keeping it full, just to basically make it a wonderful spirit? Oh, I mean,
no. From what I've heard in the industry, I'm not a filter professional or whatever, but
sure.
I've been kind of told that anything below about 5 micron, you can start to get into what you're talking about.
Okay.
And that's why we keep it right there. So yeah, the only goal of the filtration is just to get any debris out of visible debris out of there. Yep,
all
that's
right.
it.
So let's go ahead and give it a nose. It's had a couple minutes, as you saw, to open up and bloom a little. Let some of the, just some of the alcohol off the top. I'm getting some of that, I'm getting a soft barrel note. A little bit of open. Why do I get cherry in there? Do you get cherry at all?
I was going to say there's another blend of wood in there, not just straight oak. Like a Brazilian or...
I don't know, but
or like Hungarian.
That'd be cool. Do you know what kind of barrel it was?
Yeah,
What was it?
They're all going to be brand new charred American oak barrels.
Okay.
Perfect. Yep. Okay.
Yep, because this isn't a finish. This is just a straight bourbon. So, and that's of course one of the requirements for a straight bourbon whiskey. To be called a straight bourbon is it has got to be aged in a new charred American oak barrel. Yep.
Okay. What do you get when you smell?
This one I always get like vanilla, a little caramel.
Yep. That would be my barrel notes. That's how I describe it.
Okay, yeah, it's kind of a
There's
traditional...
a little bit of nut to it.
It's kind of a traditional bourbon. But when you said cherry, actually, for the first time, when you said that, I can.
Am I wrong?
Understand that? No.
I mean, I felt like it's not a pronounced cherry. It's not like chocolate covered cherries. It's just like a
subtle undertone.
A subtle undertone of cherry in the nose. I of course get that beautiful. I get the mash coming out in there because it's still not. It's not barreled so long that it's covering every bit of the original spirit.
Sure.
I like it. It's nice. I actually get a little bit of sweet corn in there.
Yeah,
from the
definitely.
mash.
Definitely, the corn shines through nicely.
All right, cheers.
Salute.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Coats the mouth really, really nice. I can tell that she's a little higher proof.
Yep.
Because that pepper comes in first. Not alcohol, but more pepper.
Sure.
And then, to me, this is only me. Everybody, you drink what you like. You drink what you like. First, I get the pepper, then I get the vanillas and the influence from the barrel, and then it kind of gives a little bit with that higher proof. It kind of gives a little bit of that pepper and mint and a little bit. What am I trying to find? There's something there that I'm trying to pick out.
I think you've gone on a scavenger hunt and you're just throwing everything at the wall.
I like to pull out as much as I can from
Yeah.
the flavors, because, I mean, some people, what they do is they just get their spirit and they just down it and see how far can I get it down so that way I'm not tasting it.
That's the thing. Everybody's palate is different. So as far as notes go, it's a very subjective process depending on
So now, I think this one's a little bit more alcohol forward than either the bourbon or the whiskey forward. Followed by, you do get the subtle ness of that barrel coming through. You get a nice, like, nutty finish to it, like kind of a, not quite a hazelnut, but something pleasurable.
I'm thinking like take the apple out, but the caramel and the nuts portion of like a caramel apple, the topping.
Okay.
That's kind of like that's what I'm getting out of it. Now, please, you're the
sure.
the
No,
still,
like
please, tell us.
like I said, this one is always reminds me of just having a lot of caramel, a lot of vanilla.
Yeah. I love it.
And yeah, you get a little bit of that corn through. Maybe some of the mash comes through a little bit, but
I don't remember that one being bitter, but today it is striking me at
is it
unhappy bitter?
Oh, okay. Well, I'm bummed because I'm enjoying myself.
I know, and we've enjoyed that one. You can see that it's half gone.
Yes,
so you can tell we've enjoyed it. But today, like I said, that one has it set on like an 8.5 bitter to me today, and I'm like, wow.
Yeah, I've definitely made quite a few nice sipping cocktails with that, as well as just sipping with a nice cigar.
Yeah. Well, I'll kind of hit the as he's going through this next one. I'll kind of hit the why we're kind of in the proof range that we're in. Mm-hmm. The reason I wanted to do that is because I found that when you get whiskeys that are 80 proof, stuff like that. You typically, if you want like a high end cocktail, like a Manhattan or an old fashioned or something like that, you still want to be able to taste the spirit that you're trying, and those ones really
you're not
your
alone.
The flavors kind of get drowned out and disappear with the cocktail. So at 92, I think it's a good balance where you can make those traditional ones like an old fashioned or Manhattan. You can still taste the spirit, and then if you are drinking it neat and you prefer a lighter proof, you can always literally proof it down and add your own distilled water.
John Watley.
We call it the John Watley
That's
effect.
all you got to do. Yeah.
So we went to a rum
all it is.
distillery in the Bahamas this year, and they proof many of their rums at cast strength. Like, this stuff is like really gonna make you.
Oh man,
it's gonna make you yelp.
So good,
okay?
but it was so good.
It is very, very good. So first of all, they said that, and it's in one of their brochures. Their spirits are at higher proof, and they're meant to allow you to bring it down to proof that you like, just like you just said.
Yeah.
So where you add a little bit, and we tell our viewers that even with other spirits like tequila or rum or whiskey or bourbon, you just add a little bit of water at a time, just a smidge at a time, like you call it dripping it in, know. And then it's going to bloom. It's going to change the flavors. You're going to smell it different. You're going to taste it differently. And that's pretty awesome. But on the high proof, before I forget, you're not alone, because there is a huge fad going on right now with high proofs. As a matter of fact, our next video that we're going to do is going to be a high proof tequila drink through.
Oh, nice.
It's going to be more of a blind. We want to see which ones we think is the better by a high proofs. And it's because a lot of the mixed drinks are calling for some tequilas that actually have, or bourbons that actually have more flavor in the cocktail, just like you said.
Yep.
You know, it's kind of taken off a little bit.
Sure.
Now tell us about this one.
Yeah, so this one's similarly aged. You know, that one's 4 to 5 years of age.
And that is our wheat.
That is our wheat, yeah, and this one's a little bit more unique. You don't see a whole lot of these straight wheats out there. And yeah, this one is 95% wheat. So basically, everything that you guys are going to be getting is coming from that wheat. Yeah, then the rest there's going to be a little bit of corn and barley in there as well. But no, it's predominantly wheat. And
we're staying with new barrels.
Yep, these are same thing. Yep.
And all three.
Yep,
Okay.
they're all going to be new American oak charred. Yep. I think they're all number 4.
I was going to say it's got to be either a 3 or 4 char, just from the beautiful color you're getting, as well as the flavors.
They do have good color for being
Don't they?
4 year. Yeah.
I mean, plus look at the legs and tears on this thing. It is just clinging to the glass. That's beautiful. I love when any spirit does that. You know, it's going to be a good mouthfeel coat. It's going to last a while on the palate. You don't have to shoot it to taste it for a while. You can sit, just relax, and you don't have to have a ton just to have fun.
Well, keep in mind, guys, you know, if you don't want to add water, add in some crushed ice. But keep in mind, when you make a cocktail with crushed ice, you know, your cocktail's only good for 15 minutes at max. 10 is where they call it dead. 15, you know, you usually throw it out because it gets too diluted. If you are going to want to throw it over ice or whatnot, we always recommend a sphere or an actual cube, or
Something
you've got the stones.
Melt, yes, and something that's going to melt less. Or if you use the stones, then you're not diluting it, but you're kind of chilling it down, muting a little bit of the spirit. Now, what do you get on the nose?
Not tequila.
That's true. What do you get on the nose?
This one I get like a green apple almost, and I think it's a lot more sweet than these other two too. I almost get like oh man, I don't know what you.
No, you're right on the nose.
What you would call that, but almost like
the nose.
Not candy, but just overall a really heavy sweetness to it.
And yet it's just the sugars from changing a starch to a sugar in the distillation.
I don't get any citrus from it, so I'm intrigued that you are both on like the citrus train.
No, apple.
Which
apple
is a citrus.
What?
An apple is a citrus.
I don't say that.
Drop it in the comments if you agree that an apple is a citrus.
I get a soft barrel. I don't get much of the higher spirit. I get a little more higher spirit punch from this one than this one on the nose. This one is just nice and smooth and vanilla.
So it really reminds me of kind of like the nougat of like a candy bar.
Okay.
And then it also reflects like the cherry wheat to me, like Sam Adams has for their beer. You get that bright wheat with just a very subtle. I guess sweetness would be the best word to put there.
Sure.
Folks, bear with us. We're on 4th of July weekend. We have heavy boat traffic, and today it looks like we're about to have the Coast Guard go by. So hopefully it's not somebody's in emergency, but...
Well, clearly it is, because he's running Code 1, so he's flying.
He is moving pretty good. But, alright, let's see what we get on the palate. Cheers.
The palate.
I said palate.
Yeah, we all look when things are happening out there. That's what happens when your studio's on the water.
But you can tell This is all live. We shoot it. We don't take any double takes, edit. We just go by what's going on during the day. I'm getting... man, this is my favorite one.
That honey is so beautiful on there.
Definitely. I get like the honey and caramel and vanilla and
Sure.
almost a chocolate, but
Okay, yeah.
I
guess
like a dark chocolate that hasn't been has not had the sugar added to it yet.
I guess that nougat to me really comes through. You get, on the palate, which is great.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Vanilla, caramel, honey. Yeah. Nope. This one's really good. And as a matter of fact, I've got to have a favorite, right? And that's probably my favorite.
Well, and we say that one distiller gets a 1 out of 3 chance to win their public. Well,
Yeah.
because you've got 3 expressions. They all talk and speak differently,
Yep.
just like a tequila.
Yep.
You've got the Blanco, the Repo, and the Añejo. You get a 1 in 3 chance for me to recommend something to someone.
Sure.
I just really enjoy that one. And I do when we're at Kunin's. Usually, that's my choice.
Mm.
All right, tell us about your last one here.
Yeah, so that's going to be
A high rye.
high rye straight bourbon. So it's going to be similar to this first one, except for the rye content's about 12% higher in that one.
All right.
So you're going to get some of those rye notes, some of that pepper and stuff's going to be a little bit more pronounced with that one. And we bumped the proof up.
That is totally peppermint off the nose.
We blew the proof up from 92 to 94 on that one. So
Okay.
it's going to be just a little bit spicier as well.
All right.
That's our
I'm not
latest
mad at that.
expression. Yep.
And so far, each one of these expressions are wonderful with a cigar. I'll vouch for that too.
Yes. I didn't grab any today, but it is not unheard of to see us with bourbons and tequilas with a cigar.
Well, it kind of changes the flavors too.
Absolutely.
It will actually,
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
totally change. I don't presume that you have a partaken a cigar or not, but
Oh, I love them. Yeah.
okay, yeah, we enjoy it with a good sipper, and so let's see.
Sure, and I guess I'll explain too why you guys
please
are
do.
nosing those. That is kind of where these labels came from. So you guys living
yeah.
on the water, I'm sure you're probably familiar with the nautical flag system. And each one of these flags, they've got a flag for each letter in the alphabet.
Okay.
And each flag, like I said, represents a letter, but it also represents a specific meaning. And the way the reason they developed that system is for boats out on the water, right? If your comms are down, or if you want to send a really quick message, all you got to do is literally put up a few of these flags, and you'll know, okay,
Right.
that means I'm in distress, or that means I'm.
And that was more so used back in the day with the bigger ships,
Yep.
especially in distress.
Yeah.
So-
now it's more. I mean, people still use them, but yeah, radios are pretty reliable nowadays.
Right, but that kind of goes back to the Titanic, where they were lighting the wrong fireworks, but they had all the right flags up.
Yeah.
So please explain to our viewers which of the flags are listed here and
Sure.
what they mean. Would you
Okay.
please?
Sure. Yeah. So if you guys watching have any of these, if you look on the side of the bottle, we've actually got it spelled out here. So it'll say right on here, nautical flag meaning hold steady is what this one means, and this stands for the letter M. This was our first one. The second one, this wheat here, same thing. Nautical flag meaning alter course, letter I. So these first
This
two
is
we
the
can,
letter U, danger ahead.
danger ahead, right? So
Cheers to
Cheers
that
to
one,
that.
brother.
Exactly.
Cheers to that one. I love that. I didn't read the bottles. I literally just wanted to have them. I've got to have them.
So we thought that was cool, but we also, it's kind of hard to stick out from the crowd in a industry like this because it's just so saturated.
Right.
So when we're thinking, how can we stand out when you're on the shelf of a party store with 1,000 other bottles next to you? Well,
That happened
these
with my
ones,
friend.
yeah, I mean,
Did
you
you
can-
have the one with the white X on it?
exactly. Yeah, you can see it. You can see it from. You don't even have to read the bottle. The consumer, after a while, will just know. Oh, this flag's a straight bourbon. That flag's the wheat. That flag's a high rye, right? And
We were just at lunch over at Beer Garden, And that was right there in the back, and like, oh hey, look,
They got it.
We're about to talk to him.
Right. Some of those, some of the bourbons, a lot of them look similar, and you don't even know what it is until you pick the thing up and really look at it. So we wanted to kind of differentiate ourselves in some way, which I think we've done with this design. But
yeah, I'm definitely getting more bite, more alcohol than the first one.
Yep.
As it sits here, it's kind of evaporating off some of that. I'm getting now, as I'm letting it breathe more, I'm finally getting some of the barrel notes, the mesh.
The mesh?
The corn mash. Corn mash. I did say mesh, I apologize.
Have another one.
I'm about to.
Good.
How did it go in that Crisscross song? Warm it up, Chris. I'm about to.
No, all three of these have a beautiful nose. They all, have their own voice that they're putting forward, which I think as a bourbon, guy primarily, there are some of those that 100% lose their voice the more they try to put out.
God, this is wonderful.
And these do stand on their own, so they are fantastic.
yeah, well, thank you.
I am not a huge rye fan. I actually think Bullet Rye is one of the worst bourbons out there. But this one is very nice. You've got the sweetness, you've got the, kind of acidity going on, you've got those caramels, you've got, that honey, you've got, just...
And they're bold. They're very bold flavors. They're not muted. They're not so alcohol forward. I'm getting more pepper. I don't get the alcohol on the palate. On the nose, I did get the alcohol a little more than I did with this one.
Sure.
But I don't get the alcohol on the palate.
Okay.
So when I'm tasting it, I just taste like an amplified, bold flavors of just exactly what you're saying. I'm getting the barrel, I'm getting the vanillas, the oak, I'm getting...
There is something that, as that enters, like, the front of my tongue, that it's like a crisp cucumber or something very fresh.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
And then you get, the barrel notes in that rye, but I don't... Cucumber, mint, something super fresh and explosive before you wash into, obviously, the mashes and everything that you guys have stuck with.
Yeah.
Maybe I should clarify myself a little bit. So when I say bold flavors, I mean they're very pronounced. They're very out there, but they're not heavy. They're not...
Correct. This is a nice light sipper.
This is a great sipper. Just sit down, chill, either with or without a cigar. You're just...
Sure.
And it stands well in a cocktail as well.
Yeah.
Because...
This is my go-to for Manhattan. I usually use.
Is it?
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, do you do... What's your favorite? Smoked or unsmoked?
Well, I mean, I'll do smoked, but it's usually unsmoked just because I don't have the option. But smoked is always good. Yeah.
Right?
I haven't done a lot of them, but
I love my smoker.
You guys must have a little cocktail smoker. Yeah.
We bought those. Yeah, what was it? $20 or something like that.
Was it the one that you put the
now,
box? Or
those
is it
are
just a
kind
topper
of
with
the box are pretty, but
so
they're
the box
a waste.
doesn't actually smoke the
Right,
alcohol.
It doesn't really shoot it down.
Correct.
In there,
So
yeah.
we did buy the one that sits on top that goes into. And my favorite way to do those is put it in a mixer, light your smoke, close it, and then shake it, and it imparts that smoke beautifully throughout. And then you pour it into your glass and continue on with your cocktail or whatnot. But I put that on the same level as adding ice to it, because depending upon the wood you choose to add, you can either smooth it out and bring out some amazing flavors, or you can really light that on fire and you're thinking, what did I just do?
Yeah, you can ruin it too.
Really?
Yeah, too much smoke.
Like an applewood is always good to kind of bring it down.
Right.
One of my favorites that you don't have is the aged bourbon barrel. I love to do that on a lot of them because, it does kind of bring out some of those things that it's already got.
For For sure.
You know, without adding an artificial flavor. And oak is always a simple, perfect one because, you know, that's what they're aged in.
Sure.
So without altering what you guys have done, you can add things like a smoke to really amplify it. Add a water to, dilute it to be able to find those new things.
Yeah.
But we really appreciate that you've taken your time with us today. We think these are absolutely amazing, and clearly we 100% are going to say we recommend them. So,
folks,
are you only distributing in Michigan?
We are at the moment, yeah. But
okay.
we have been
so, are you shipping? So you aren't distributing to other states, but are you shipping to other states?
Nope, not doing that either. So it's all of it is going to be just distribution in Michigan.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's kind of like me with my tequila. So Michigan is a very highly alcohol controlled state. So you can only get what they allow you to buy. Now, that being said, a lot of places we can go to and drive to, pick it up, ship it to us, or whatever, but if you're in Michigan, if you're planning on making a trip to Michigan, find some third wind.
Hit these guys up on their socials and say, hey, we saw you on Sip, Savor, and Celebrate. How do we get a bottle?
Sure.
Yeah.
And tell them Konnor sent you.
That's right.
They'll be more than happy to take care of you. But you know what? The day is long. We have a lot more fun going on. And so remember to always sip, savor, and celebrate.
Salud.
Cheers.